The LA mayor's race heats up. Candidate and Congresswoman Karen Bass meets with local women and urges people to vote.
Native American activist and actress Sacheen Littlefeather died over the weekend. USC alumni and professors speak about her impact across the industry.
We're here at Fisher Museum of Art, where for today's event of Green Week is taking place. Regenerate is the name. Come back for more.
Annenberg TV News is next.
So with the choice on the ballot during these midterms, this November must be Rovember.
Congresswoman and mayoral candidate Karen Bass met with Women's March Action about reproductive rights, about getting out the vote, and her opponent's record. Good evening, I'm Jeffrey Lee.
And I'm Bailey Harrison. A new poll shows Bass slightly ahead of her rival billionaire developer and USC trustee Rick Caruso. Bass joined pro-choice advocates in Boyle Heights. She called attention to the importance of protecting reproductive rights after Roe v. Wade was overturned. She criticized Caruso for supporting anti-abortion Republicans.
Shared values are what drives me as a policymaker, and it is what will drive me as mayor. A leader who we can trust to always fight to defend choice and all of our freedoms. I will always fight for choice and the rights of Angelenos. It is what I did as a nurse up the street at White Memorial Hospital, as a physician assistant, and we won't forget who we are, Los Angeles. People who know that each of us deserves dignity, equality, and our freedoms.
Mail-in ballots must be postmarked by November 8th. The university will have 2 locations to drop off mail-in ballots on campus, one located at the USC Village and another at the Health Sciences Campus Conference Center. We reached out to the campaign of Bass' opponent, Rick Caruso, for a comment, but have not heard back. After a rocky term that saw the overturning of Roe v. Wade, the U.S. Supreme Court begins a new term today that could spark even more controversy. Our politics anchor, Christina Liu, has more on the story.
That's right, Bailey. People are watching closely as the Supreme Court starts a new 9-month term today. The court will hear cases on a range of controversial issues, including affirmative action, voting and election laws, and LGBTQ equality. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson takes her seat on the bench for the first time and as the first Black woman in the history of the court. She said, quote, "I have a seat at the table now and I'm ready to work." There are now 4 women on the court, the most ever at one time. It's also the first time white men are in the minority. 5 men sit on the bench, 4 of them white.
It matters that Ketanji Brown Jackson brings a different life experience and worldview potentially than her other colleagues. Now, there's a saying that with each new justice, it's a new court. And so the question is, how much can she change this court? The answer in the short term will probably be not that much, because this is a conservative court. There's 6 conservative members of the court, 3 liberal members. She's a member of the liberal wing of the court, and she'll be writing a lot of dissents for a long time.
We may see some of those dissents in the following cases. Moore versus Harper will have major implications for how elections are regulated. Affirmative action could be overturned, making college admissions race neutral. Protections against racial gerrymandering will be questioned in Merrill versus Milligan. The justices will hear cases into the winter and will hand down decisions at the end of their term in June. Bailey, Jeffrey, back to you.
If you happen to be a serial jaywalker, you don't have to worry about getting a ticket. Governor Gavin Newsom just signed a bill that will decriminalize jaywalking. This new law protects jaywalkers from a citation unless, quote, a reasonably careful person would realize there is immediate danger of collision. The law goes into effect January 1st of next year. The bill's sponsor argues that marginalized and low-income residents are hit harder by jaywalking tickets. Students had mixed reactions.
I mean, I don't jaywalk a lot, so it doesn't really matter to me as much, but it's like cool that it's not like I won't have to worry about looking for police when I need to get somewhere really quick. Or I've seen several people, like, you could go in a group, but only the POC will be stopped.
I don't think that, like, we shouldn't, like, tell people, like, oh, you're jaywalking, you're like a criminal or something like that, but, I think it's just about choice, and we have that freedom of choice.
Even though you won't have to walk all the way to an intersection, just remember what your parents told you. Look both ways before crossing the street.
And it's almost time to ride the K-Line. The trains will be ready to roll this Friday, and those rides will be free this opening weekend. By 2024, the K-Line, the pink one on the map, will connect to the new LAX Metro Transit Center station. This new line will provide USC students a new way to get to the airport. Student Metro riders reacted to this exciting news.
I'm new to LA, so I usually once when I came here. But I've heard about certain friends who don't have a car. Their experience that they're good, but obviously there are some problems that they're facing.
Just inconvenient because it takes so long to get anywhere, and it's just so much quicker to drive. But it was also nice that you never have to worry about parking, or if you're really tired, you don't have to worry about driving home or getting stuck in traffic. If I'm at USC and I need to go to the airport, then yeah, I'll probably take it. I would rather take that than take an Uber or Lyft.
The K-Line was built to help provide a faster, more convenient, and reliable way to connect residents to jobs, schools, and other local communities. We spoke with a representative from LA Metro about how the new line will impact low-income communities.
We haven't seen rail transit in this area since the 1950s and 60s. And so, when there's heavy traffic, you give people a much cheaper option that's fast and efficient, that's on a timetable. We're looking at a train that's going to come about every 10 minutes. We work with local cities and communities to develop high-density housing close to the station. So, for instance, down in northern Inglewood at the Fairview Heights station. And so for people who are trying to change their lives, who've gone through some struggles, it's great to have a nice, cheap, and effective way to get around.
Undergraduate Student Government President Hannah Woodworth says that USG still plans to offer shuttle service to LAX next week before fall break. The service will be available all day Wednesday and Thursday.
First of all, this is the first time USG has ever had an initiative like this, and it's both a sustainability initiative and an affordability initiative. As we know, there's a huge barrier to access to getting to the airport, as sometimes the cost of a fare to and from LAX to Uber is more expensive than the cost of a flight itself. So we believe that all students should have the equal access to be able to go home or travel during breaks.
USC students are excited for the new K-Line because they'll save a lot of money getting to the airport for those all-important getaways.
What is USC doing to promote a more sustainable environment? Iraq has the answer.
You ready?
Take it away, buddy.
Sure. Thank you, Jeffrey. Yes, I'm here at the Museum of Art for today's event of the Green Week, Regenerate. Here, student creators and faculty are working together fighting for the environment via discussion and an art project, hoping to talk about sustainability and a greener future. This event is rich with creative inspiration alongside student projects, a workshop and roundtable discussion held by artists and faculty members Eric Young and China Adams address the relationship between art, culture, and sustainability. Today, I'm with Eric.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How's the event going today?
It's going really well. We got a lot of students from all the diverse schools of USC out here collaborating on creating some sustainability messages through artwork.
Wonderful. My first question for you is going to be, what is the purpose of this event?
Purpose of this event is put on by the Arts and Climate Coalition, and it's to bring people from different disciplines together to focus on how we can move the regenerating of our environment forward through the arts and the assorted practices of all the schools at USC.
Thank you. Yeah, I like the name Regenerate. Why the name?
I think it's foundational to what needs to happen on every level if we're going to save our planet and have a home to live in for our children and the people coming after us.
Thank you. My last question would be, we have a workshop right now, but we're going into a discussion, a roundtable discussion. What are you going to talk about in there?
Well, the discussion will be the panelists. I'll be leading the panel. Will be artists who were awarded grants for art projects that address climate change and regeneration. So we'll be talking about their work.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Pleasure.
So if you're wondering, Green Week is going until Friday. If you plan on being involved, the Ecological Student Assembly is meeting tomorrow at the Tutor Center at 8 p.m. If you want more information about the events happening this week, visit green.usc.edu. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Ueberroth. The LAUSD Superintendent just gave an update on the school district hacking. We also have tips to keep your info safe online.
USC alumni talk about the passing of Sacheen Littlefeather and the impact she had on the entertainment industry.
And a special ceremony at the LA Coliseum to honor someone who's played a major role in the Olympics.
Worried your friend's struggling but don't know how to reach out?
You could say how are you or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could write him a text or knit him a sweater. If you can't be together, you could write him a letter. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You could ask on your couch while you binge watch. However you do it, you gotta ask a friend. And if they don't share, you can ask again. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand, trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
We have breaking news. The LA Unified School District Superintendent Alberto Carvalho now says there is no evidence of critical student or employee information exposed after hackers got into the school system. Most of the information affected was from former students between 2013 and 2016. Hackers released the data a day after the superintendent refused to pay a ransom. More than 50 other school districts and colleges nationwide have been targeted this year. USC has cybersecurity measures in place to prevent the university from being a victim of a similar attack. Students are familiar with Duo, a two-factor authentication service that requires anyone logging into their USC Net ID to confirm their identity.
An attacker who's sitting in some other country might somehow be able to steal your password by sending you to a fake web page. But when they try and log in and it goes through Duo, they can't fake the push on your phone.
We've done a lot of drills recently where we have different stakeholders, communications, different business groups.
Yep.
So we've been drilling quite a bit this year, probably about every other month. And so we have like every scenario that can come up.
USC IT Services has several cybersecurity tips. Use strong passwords with at least 16 characters. Create unique passwords for every account. Protect all devices with a password and two-factor authentication when possible. And above all else, be cautious.
Actress and Native American activist Sacheen Littlefeather has died, just weeks after accepting an apology from the Academy of Motion Pictures. Back in 1973, Littlefeather rejected an Oscar on behalf of actor Marlon Brando because of how Native Americans were being treated in films.
I'm representing Marlon Brando this evening, and he has asked me to tell you cannot accept this very generous award. And the reasons for this being are the treatment of American Indians today by the film industry.
It took nearly 5 decades after for the Academy to apologize to Sacheen Littlefeather for her terrible treatment at the 1973 Oscars. It was the first time in Oscar history that a Native American woman stood on the Oscar stage and she took a stand. She spoke about the injustice that she and other Native Americans have. Littlefeather received almost immediate backlash and boos from the crowd.
Remember how brave Sacheen Littlefeather was. Marlon Brando called her the night before And then she came to the Oscars and got up on that stage. I had had dinner with Brando 3 nights before that, and all he talked about was the treatment by Hollywood of Native Americans. So he was a true activist, and she was a brave activist.
Shows that, no, Native people are alive, we're living and we're here and we're resisting colonialism at every moment. And to me, the bigger significance was the apology.
Before Sacheen Littlefeather passed away, she spoke at a program hosted by the Academy where she recalled her Oscar speech. A USC alum attended the event and gathered pictures.
It really outlines the entire process of how Native people have been working to get to this point, and there's still so much work that's left to be done. That's what she highlighted in her speech. And, I think it really left all of the Native people that were there in that audience in tears. And
even though a lot of Native communities have to fight every day just to exist, just to live, just to do this, and then to fight these, decades of stereotypes of racism on top of everything that our communities already face, that can be a lot.
Littlefeather's passing was announced by her family. No cause of death was given. Now we've got Michaela here with our weekly weather report. Take it away, Michaela.
Thank you so much, Bailey. Yes, it is a beautiful day on campus today. I'm loving how sunny it is, but we're starting to see little flashes of fall weather here and there. So let's take a look at our current conditions. Right now we're sitting at 73 degrees, which I believe is a perfect way to kick off our Parents' Weekend and welcome all our family back on campus. So let's take a look at this 5-day forecast so that you and your loved ones know what to expect. So what you're going to see is Tuesday and Wednesday, we're sitting at around 82 degrees, and then we're going to see little divots throughout the week. So Thursday, we're at 81, and then we have a little bit of clouds, and we're moving on into the sun. Perfect for Friday and Saturday, sitting at 84 and 86. It's not too hot and also not too cold, just right for Parents' Weekend. I don't know about you guys, but I cannot wait to watch these Trojans beat the Cougars underneath the bright lights and the bright sun. My name is Michaela Wagner, and I'm now tossing it to Michael and Dylan with sports.
Thanks, Michaela. Coming up on ATVN Sports, women's soccer traveled to Oregon and came away with some great wins over the Ducks and the Beavers. Men's water polo had a successful weekend, but is another national championship in sight? We'll see. Finally, the Trojan football team felt the heat against Arizona State, but a fiery second half fueled the Trojans to another win. Stay tuned for more sports news after the break.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Welcome back to ATVN Sports. I'm Dylan Brazier.
And I'm Michael Fumafredo.
The Trojan football team improves to 5-0 with a 42-25 victory over Arizona State and continuing to lead the Pac-12 Conference. After a lackluster offensive performance at Oregon State, Caleb Williams came back strong, completing 27 of 37 passes for 348 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jordan Addison continues to prove himself as the nation's top receiver with another 100-yard game. But the dominant outing for the offense was almost stunted by the Trojan defense, allowing the Sun Devils to score on every first half drive. Thankfully, they turned it around in the second half and held ASU to just 8 points and a game-sealing interception. Michael, everyone thought this match was a walk in the park, but the Sun Devils came to play. It was a bigger fight than we thought, and what say you about this win?
I mean, we've probably said it about this team every single week, but this was really the true definition of a trap game. USC just came off a huge win in Corvallis, taking down the Beavers. They come back into the Coliseum, a home game against a 1-3 team that is on an interim head coach. Feels like to me that USC took this game a little bit more lightly than they should have. But hey, at the end of the day, a win is a win.
Yeah, like I said, first half defense allowed Sun Devils to score every drive. Do you think that's lack on our defensive side of the ball, or is that Emory Jones came to play and it was a good offense?
He came to play. I mean, neither was stellar, the defense and Emory Jones, but this is the game that we expected them to play. What I was interested in was the defense dominated last week, and we just didn't see that on the field again this past weekend against Arizona State. So I'm curious is this going to be a weekly thing that we see the defense against Oregon State or the defense against Arizona State? We're just going to have to wait and see. Time will only tell for that one.
Definitely. Speaking of defense, star linebacker Eric Gentry transferred from Arizona State. Here's what he had to say about playing his former team.
Felt weird playing against my old team. Say we didn't really have the edge. Me being a Mike linebacker, I really set the energy. So me playing timid, like I said, feeling weird with playing against the old team. But second half I felt way better.
So we've seen Caleb Williams' 15 touchdowns on the year, but his playmaking that leads to the scores is just as impressive. Let's take a look at some of these plays here on the monitor. So here's first possession of the game, botch snap. Williams is going to take it, use his legs, pick up the first down, crucial play on third down for them. Now watch this one. In the red zone, he's looking downfield at his receivers the entire time, knows his safety valve, and Austin Jones is there, so when the pressure was there, he was able to dump it off, and that's going to lead to a score as well. This is probably one of my favorite plays of the game here, though. Look at this. 1, 2, 3 Arizona State defenders there for the sack. Safety? Nope, he's going to jump pass it over to his man, Jordan Addison, and that's going to pick up a first down and more. And Dylan, it's these moments, these Heisman moments maybe, that is what has USC at 5-0 right now.
Thanks, Michael. Heisman moments indeed. After a loss to Washington State last week, the women's volleyball team played lights out this past weekend, defeating both Colorado and Utah 3-1. The match against Colorado was closer than it looked, as the lead changed 5 times in the fourth set, which could have tied it up for the Buffalo. But the women of Troy rallied, winning the final set 28-26. Utah put up a challenge, but with the help from a season high of 14 blocks on the Utes, the Trojans secured a valuable conference win. Looking at some key players, Mia Tuanika set a new school record and tied for second in conference history with 10 service aces. She also recorded the second triple-double in USC history with 37 assists, 10 digs, 3 blocks, and 3 kills. Skylar Fields, of course, another impact player, as she leads the Pac-12 with 259 kills and a team high of 24 kills against Colorado. The Trojans are now 11-4 on the season and 3-1 in the Pac-12. Michael, Skylar Fields was just announced Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week. What are your thoughts on this team and how well they're doing?
This is a team that's been peaking at the right time, and they're playing at their ceiling right now. Nobody really expected this out of the team, but they came into the Galen Center. They beat Colorado that was 2-0 at the time. However, you do have to ask me this question in about 2 or 3 weeks' time, because big games coming up for the Trojans against Oregon and Stanford, both ranked in the top 10. Those will be interesting matchups, and we'll really see what this team is come those games.
Sounds good. Well, that's all we have for sports. Thank you for tuning in. Never mind, I'm just hearing. This weekend provides another in-conference matchup as the team will travel to Arizona to take on both Arizona and Arizona State.
Well, another team that's been red hot this season has been women's soccer. The number 20 ranked Trojans extended their streak to 8 games without a loss during their road trip to Oregon. 5 different Trojans scored in a 5-1 rout over Oregon State, scoring 2 goals within the last 10 minutes to seal the deal Thursday night in Corvallis. Then on Sunday, the Trojans shut out the Ducks 4-0, with Croy Bethune scoring 2 of her team-leading 5 goals this season up in Eugene. SC is now 5-0 in conference play, and Bethune's efforts this weekend were enough for her to win the honor of Pac-12 Player of the Week. The Trojans returned to McAllister Field this weekend for a clash with the Arizona schools. And finally now, Dylan, men's water polo followed last week's tournament loss with the much-needed wins this weekend. The Trojans defeated both UC Santa Barbara and UC Irvine. Marcus Longston scored for the 15th consecutive game as USC took down the Gauchos 10-6 on Friday, while Massimo Di Martir continues to lead the Trojans in scoring this season, thanks to a 4-goal performance in the 16-10 rout of the Anteaters on Sunday. USC's record is now 12-4 on the year. Jake Earhart, by the way, is now up to 11th all-time in career goals for the Trojans. And Dylan, speaking of number 11, is this time for water polo's 11th national championship this season?
Well, the championship is always on the table when you're a Trojan. And thank you for tuning in to your sports update. Here's Jeffrey with the rest of your nightly news.
Thanks so much, guys. LA is getting ready to host the 2028 Summer Olympic Games. We'll tell you about a pioneer from the last time LA hosted.
Lávate las manos por 20 segundos como Elmo.
Hay algo especial acerca de este lugar. Se siente como un hogar, una sala debajo del cielo y los árboles. Rodeado de aire fresco y la naturaleza. Todo aquí para que lo disfrutemos y para que lo cuidemos. Tenemos la responsabilidad de cuidar de esta tierra que llamamos casa, de preservarla para las generaciones que vienen. Cada acción pequeña contribuye para un cambio mayor y cada uno de nosotros podemos hacer la diferencia. Hay algo especial acerca de este bosque. Es un lugar donde se hacen recuerdos y juntos podemos preservarla y protegerla.
The president of the 1984 LA Olympic Organization Committee was celebrated this morning. Peter Ueberroth was honored with a plaque in the Coliseum's Court of Honor. Ueberroth is known for implementing a sponsorship strategy in the 1984 LA Olympics that generated a jaw-dropping $223 million profit. That money was used to create LA84, an organization that financially assists thousands of youth sports organizations in Southern California.
The 84 Olympics is the gold standard. Countries all over the world are still trying to emulate what Peter Ueberroth did here in Los Angeles.
You know, Peter Ueberroth is in one of those top 10 Angelinos that's ever lived. Somebody who took us in the 1980s when we had faced an oil crisis and the Olympic movement was broken. And he really revived it, not just running the best Olympics ever, but after the Olympics, stepping up as a citizen. So he's been an Angelino who's given back and back and back to his hometown for forever. And to have him here now, it feels fitting, it feels right, it feels like he will have a home forever right here.
The Summer Olympics will be held in Los Angeles in 2028. Athletic events will take place across the city, including the Coliseum.
Thanks for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Bailey Harrison.
And I'm Jeffrey Lee. For more coverage, watch and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Annenberg Media. Good night.